Hello everyone, welcome back. I thought I'd do a quick update on a video I did a couple of years ago when Pyro first came out, showing how to advect particles. And it seems they have changed some things like a year ago. Here's the old video. And in their release of 2023.2, you can see they released so local velocity for emitters for Pyro. Um, and that made this tutorial kind of outdated, so I thought I'd show you how to set up, we're going to set up the X particles emitter to be advected by the Pyro sim. So just as in the other video, if you've already seen it, we have a Pyro sim. First, let's turn off those. We have a Pyro sim. Oops, there we go. Just nothing special there, just your basic properties. In the simulation settings, the voxel size is set to 2. And I have excluded the field forces that are up here, just so they don't affect the sim. And then the sim has already been cached. You don't need to cache it, but it probably would be helpful in the end. So in this first example, we pause it and we go back and we turn on this XP emitter. You can see the XP emitter is emitting 500 particles a second, and they have no speed, and they have a gradient speed display. So they just change colors as they speed up. And that's pretty much it. So if we just show this first one here, you can see it works pretty fast, pretty quick. And it also works pretty fast even if it's not cached and using the Pyro output object. So that's one example. Let me turn off the Pyro display here. Make sure it's still working. Yep. So there you can see the particles are being advected nicely. And in this second example, I've taken the volume loader and loaded in that same Pyro cache that is being used in the Pyro output. I have just ticked velocity. Everything's normal, and then from there it goes into a volume builder set to vector and set to the same voxel size as the original sim. It doesn't have to be, but just for this purpose it is. And then from there, that volume builder gets fed into the force field, and then that's it. There's no remapping, although we could turn it on, and we do have some options in this setup. But as just to show you that, oh, one other important thing. In the first setup, the field force, normally it defaults to 5. I set it to 3 because it looks more natural, and 5 seems to push it a little bit too hard. It's set at set absolute velocity. That one's set to 3, but when you bring it in via the volume loader and load it into the volume builder as a vector type, once you plug that into the field force here, for some strange reason it's only needs a strength of 1. So if I play these at the same time, you should see that they are almost identical. There's some slight differences in their movement, but For the most part, they're identical. Mhm. And one thing you could do, um, this setup, which is recommended by Maxon. Let's see if we go over to their user manual for 2024, and you look for Pyro. If you type in Pyro, you should find. Anyway, you get to this screen for their Pyro settings. It shows you here interacting with other objects, and if you click on the standard particles, this is the workflow that they recommend you use when using their standard particles or thinking particles and even cloner. And it's pretty much all the same settings except for the strength here. They have the field force strength set to 100, which is not necessary. If you put it to 100, the velocity is just way too much and the particles go crazy. So just take note of that. And if we turn off this first setup here, and then we just look at this second setup, we have a few more options now that it's loaded into, the cache comes from the loader into a volume builder set to vector. From there, we have some filters that we can apply. We can smooth it, we can scale it. Let's stop it for a moment and go back, and we can put in, well, first of all, we could change the voxel size. So let's just change it to 5. And it'll just smooth it out a little bit. If we set that back to 2, reset, doesn't make that big a difference, but maybe a little bit. We go back here, we can come in and we can, let's say we wanted to scale the vectors. We could increase the length of those vectors, and it'll accentuate the movement. It'll increase it. A little goes a long way there. Or we could, there's some other filters there. We could normalize, which would, once we reset, it doesn't do anything. Makes all the vectors the same length and therefore not doing anything. Yeah, had a couple of questions on the previous video, and that's what I found out. So hope this was helpful, and hopefully see you soon. Bye.